Hey guys, welcome to our top 10 Schmoedown countdown for the Reactor Summit here on Take 3. Here we are counting down finally the top 10 Schmoedown teams of all time. We are recording this before Spectacular. So our lists with top teams and what we think of the teams have nothing to do with what happened at Spectacular, which has already aired prior to the airing of this episode. So we are all blissfully ignorant, breaking the fourth wall right here in case like a team that does really good at Spectacular doesn't really get high on our list because hey, we didn't really see it. We didn't see it yet. The match hasn't aired at the moment that we are recording this video. Now we are going to be going through our lists in threes: 10, 9, and 8, 7, 6, and 5, 4, 3, and 2, and then finally our number ones with also our two runners up. Once complete, we will go through all of our lists and conduct a base average top 10 list based on the lists of the entire panel. So guys, without further ado, here are our top 10 Schmoedown teams of all time in our opinion. Feel free to comment down below your top 10 because that would be awesome. That would be awesome sauce. Awesome sauce indeed.
Let's get the conversation going.
Yeah. So guys, we are going to be going through our 10, our 9, and our 8, and I am going to be starting with Chris Dillman. Chris, which teams are your 10, 9, and your 8?
All right, so my number 10 is a team I've really come around on, where at first I didn't think much of them. I thought they were great for their entrances, and 6 Degrees slowly climbed up my ladder in terms of who I start following. And say what you will about some of their earlier matches, but Stacy and Brienne both bring it every single match that they're in. Even if the performance that they give isn't always the best, you can always bet they're going to have a lot to say. They're going to have a great time in the ring, and they're going to have a great entrance planned out. And, you know, spoiler alert, says this is the one time I'm going to do this to rub it in. But they're just two amazing, sweet ladies, and I'm so happy to have met them both in person and even hang out with them.
It's awesome.
My number 9 is our good friends, Late to the Party. They're only this low on my list just because, sadly, they haven't been given a chance to, really have a higher standings in the rankings. Because sadly, they're 1 and 2. In my opinion, they should be 2 and 1. But hey, we let bygones be bygones. It's all good, man. It's all good. So, but again, I want to see more what they have to offer. And my number 8. Wolves of Steel. Again, they should have been higher on my list, but it was because of what happened to them last year when they first started out. Like, don't get me wrong, and if I said it in the Schmoedown rundown, I said it many times on many Take 3 shows and whatnot, but those first 3 matches, they were excellent in theory, they were excellent on paper, but it took them until this year to really get it going. And once they got going, they didn't stop going. The other problem is, technically speaking, for right now, they're done. Hence why they're my number 8.
Indeed. But
sadly,
yeah, Wolves of Steel are amazing. Speaking of Mark Riley and Wolves of Steel, Matthew Kearns, what are your 10, your 9, and your 8?
Okay, so my number 10 is going to annoy all the commenters and probably some people on here, but I don't care. Number 10, it's the Council. It's John Campea, Ken Not Suck. Okay, listen. When I heard this team was forming, I said, this better be a team that stays together past this match. And they didn't quite do that. Still hoping they get a rematch so we can see them play together again. But I mean, I just love Ken Napzok and John Campea so much. They were so good on the mic together. This was just a team I was really happy formed. Even if it was just for the one match. So they make it here. Number 9, I have Team Schmoes. I love Christian and Mark. They're fantastic. This team was fantastic, but they kind of retired really early on, so they haven't really played that many matches, which is why they're so low on my list. but they're still a great team, and I hope eventually, I'm hoping next season that we see them come back. And then number 8, I have Team MODOK, formerly
Nice.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Indeed.
Big fans of Matt Ashley and Gray Drake. I think they are fantastic. They're only so low down on this list just because there's just a couple more teams that are like more than them, but when they get going, they are on fire. I mean, like, Matt Ashley and Gray Drake, like, they watch movies that, like, I mean, just go back to the cats and dogs moment. Like, they watch movies that you would think you wouldn't want to retain information from, and they do. It stinks that as of right now, they weren't allowed to compete in the tournament, and they're not at Spectacular. So I'm hoping that Thad or Harloff, whoever is commissioner or something, has something big set up for them early next year. That way we can see them back in the ring. But yeah, so that's my 10, 9, and 8.
Indeed, MODOK is fantastic. Yeah, respect. And MODOK with that Jeff Goldblum pool cannot be underestimated.
Oh my god, that's still one of the best movies.
Yep.
Is that Jeff Goldblum?
Indeed. Malcolm, what are your 10, 9, and your 8?
My number 10 is the Schmoes. Just similar to what Matt says, like, they're really low on my list just because, like, they haven't really been in a lot of matches this year. Like, but I mean, I put them on there because they are the first tag team champions that we've had. So I mean, and just for that alone, and the fact that Christian helped create the Schmoedown, like, is why they deserve to be on the list. My number 9 is DC movie news. I enjoy them and they're quite interesting. I mean, they're so low on there because, like, they have had a lot of great matches, but they just haven't done a lot for me. And my number 8 is 6 Degrees. I mean, I love them. I mean, like Brad and Stacey, they've got great chemistry. Like, and I mean, for me, that always entertain me, and they always bring it with the entrances. And I mean, and that's partly why I've put them at number 8.
Beautiful, and 6 Degrees are a team to be reckoned with. For my number 10, I actually have one of the teams I've found the most hilarious, not because they're the most skilled, was the now defunct Team Mega Powers. They had 2 of the worst matches of all time. Low scoring for both matches they've had. Very pathetic performances. But when you put Tom Dagnino and Josh Makuka together on a team, you get pure, unadulterated entertainment. And I wish we got more than 2 matches with those guys, but it was fantastic. At my number 9 is actually, I don't know if you guys remember this team at all. What the Flick with Alonzo Duralde.
Oh, yeah. Alonzo and
the great Christy Lemire. What the Flick only had, I think, one match. Yep. And they got slaughtered by movie release dates because of the wheel. But you cannot underestimate that performance with Alonzo Duralde. If you listen to his podcast, he's similar to Whitney and Bibbs. Actually, he's one of their best friends. He knows his stuff, and I want to see What the Flick again, just to see what they can do without getting that damn Scott Mans category, which kind of blew them out of the water. It was sad. And then at my number 8 is our dear friends, Late to the Party indeed. Even though they ruined the chances of a certain team that I'm going to discuss later getting into the finals, they did, and I hate them, and I want them to burn. But
they're my number 8.
But they're my number 8, and even though I want them to burn, they are indeed very, very lit. You see what I did there? Bada bing, bada boom. They were a lit team.
What you did there?
It was terrible.
Okay, Evan. Okay.
Whoa!
Yeah, he's
whoa!
Yeah, he's
It
kind
was
of
bad, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, at least I got a little bit of a chuckle. But look, Late to the Party is what it is. Rob and Vanessa are fantastic human beings, and they know their stuff. Rob is a powerhouse, and I just can't wait to see more of them in the future. And of course, it was great talking to them on Suddenly Soundtracks. Shameless plug, bada bing, shameless plug, bada boom. But going off of that, we are going to be going through our 7, our 6, and our 5, and I'm going to be aiming straight at you, Malcolm. What is your 7, your 6, and your 5?
Well, my number 7 is a relatively new team, but god damn it, they're entertaining. It's the Wildberries. Josh McCougar and Dewberry in one team is something that I've wanted for ages, and when they put together is like all the, I mean, they may not be the most skilled competitors, but they bring it in entertainment value alone, and it's why I put them at number 7. My number 6 is Team Top 10. I mean, they're really great. They were tag team champions. The only reason they got so low is they kind of, once they lost, they kind of sort of slowed down a little bit in doing team matches. I mean, yes, they were in the tournament and that, but they kind of had a good showing, but they didn't. But I mean, they did get one of the highest. They did get really high at the points anyway. That's why they got my number 6. My number 5 is Wolves of Steel. And I mean, yeah, I know they're technically broken up, but I mean, they've been consistently good, and they've always brought it once, and they're also one that I really enjoy watching the entrances for, because like one of their best entrances is the It one that they did this year. It's just so entertaining and so much fun watching Josh McCougar gets the shit scared out of him as well.
My number 7 is the team that blew it on a damn Russian accent. Team MODOK, also known as Team Rotten Tomatoes. Talk about chemistry. Talk about just off-the-charts chemistry. Matt Atchity, Gray Drake, they walk into a room and they ooze art. They ooze class. They ooze knowledge. My God, they are fantastic. Except for when their bit kind of wrecks their chances at a title. They were one Russian accent away from the belts. Because if Ashley just dropped it for 2 seconds and hit the answer the fucking question, they would have had to go to sudden death. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. My number 6. Say, Clark, you're gonna love me for this. Critically acclaimed.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Ooh.
They would, and again, sorry to say, Clark, they would be higher on my list if their record was a little stronger. But in theory, this team is brilliant. Because before the Schmoedown, I had no idea who the hell Whitney Seibold was or William. Well, I mean, I knew Bibiani. I knew he was good. But how good was this alleged partner of his going to be? And damn, they're good, and I don't like. I'm kind of surprised that our friends late to the party beat them in some regards, but simultaneously, I'm not complaining. My number 5 is okay. If there's a team out there that can potentially beat the Patriots, it's this one. IGN, also known as Top That. It's gonna happen. Now, I say that because it'll happen because of Jim Vejvoda. That dude's knowledge is insane. But when Eric Goldberg is needed to come to play, he can do it. Has he had a couple of missteps? Yes, I will admit that. But when the dude's on point, and when Jim is just being Jim, come on. Where's the belts?
So my number 7 is a team that's a little difficult to talk about right now, but I'd like to remember them for what they were. It's Nerds Watch. Rachel the Crusher Cushing and Ken,
He who shall not be
formerly...
named.
No, we have to name him. Ken Knapsack.
Ugh.
When on the Schmoedown live show, Rachel was brought on and they were going to be a team, I was like really excited because I knew Rachel Cushing from Schmoeville and she used to run the Schmoeville Summit stuff. So I was like really happy that she was getting to the Schmoedown. And then they played together and they were really great and had great personality to them. Given recent events. Talk about this, guys. But they're still a really fun team, and whenever they played, it stinks that they were this close to getting a title shot, and things just didn't go their way. But still loving those teams. At number 6, I have top 10. John Roca, Matt Nose. I mean, these guys talk about chemistry. These guys have it. The reason why they're number 6 is just because this season they've been very roller coaster with their win-loss. Like, there's a lot of matches where they're really invested and they will win. And then there's times when, and I get they're both really busy guys, but there's times when I feel like their heart isn't really in it. And it's just been very roller coaster, but they're still a great team. I'm hoping that, well, we'll see what happened. This is so odd, breaking the fourth wall, that we have done this. I don't know, because if they lost at Spectacular, we won't get to see them this season. So, yeah, if they lose to a team that I'm going to talk about later, and I guess hopefully in 2019 they come back and be better. I'm just going to move on to my number 5. My number 5, it is a team a lot of people hate. And I mean hate. But they are arguably the greatest team we have seen. It's the Patriots. I mean, you can hate Jester, you can hate GT. What you can't hate is that these guys have held the team belts for an entire year. Think about this. In the 2017 season, the only matches they played were title matches. I mean, that's unheard of. It's just insane to me. And again, they both fill each other's gaps in trivia knowledge really well. There's a lot of stuff JT knows that Jeff Snyder doesn't know. And again, hate them however much you want, but you can't look at that record and say you're not good at trivia, which is what puts them at number 5 for me.
Indeed, and actually, Matt, your list is very interesting, your 7, your 6, and your 5, because you'll see in just a second, because my 7 is indeed, as yours is, Nerds Watch. Now yes, Nerds Watch for this entire year, up to this recent match, has been the fan favorite team of the entire fandom. They loved Rachel Cushing and Ken. They complimented each other great in their matches. The match against Blofeld's Cat will go down in history as some of the best theatrics this show has ever had. But you can't, taking that betrayal aside, you can't deny the fact that her and Ken had so much great chemistry, and the matches they did have were fantastic. And each of them, they complemented each other well, and it just made the heartbreaking betrayal that much more powerful. At number 6, I have, like Matt again, is top 10. Roca, great guy. Matt Nost, great guy. Yes, they've had kind of a little bit of a semi-off year this year, but any great team would have like an off year or an off time, but they were contenders, and the great for a reason, even if their personas have kind of changed and evolved over this past year from being heels to kind of being semi-faces, anti-heroes, whatever you would want to call them. But then at number 5, I have MODOK. MODOK. Rotten Tomatoes, Matt Atchity, Grid Drake, everybody has said it. They were fantastic. The Jeff Goldblum pool in their last match was great. The Russian accents kind of changed the course of Schmoedown history for the for the better, since I'm kind of technically a Lions Den fan. So they actually allowed the Lions Den to succeed. So I give them even more props now, and I wish I put them higher on the list because of how much they mean to the Lions Den and the success that they all bring. I just made so many enemies on this panel alone. Now we are going to be going through our 4s, our 3s, and our 2s. I'm going to be starting with Matthew Kearns. Matt, what is your 4, your 3, and your 2?
Alright, so at number 4, I have Team Trek, Scott Mance, Jason Inman. Man, I love this team. They're just so fun. Like, you just see, like, they're just having fun competing in the Schmoedown. You know, people will argue Buzzergate, they should be champs, but I mean, all that stuff aside, they know their stuff, and the fact that they're so high is just because they exude fun. Like, you could just, Scott Mance is just Scott Mancing it, and you have Jason Inman, who is Jason Inman, he brings that Riker figure out all the time, and I want to reach through my computer and steal it from him because I'm such a Riker fan, but, you know, it's just great, and especially as a little bit more of a Star Wars fan, but as a big Star Trek fan, it's in a Star Wars dominated trivia world. It's nice to see some Trekkers out there. At number 3, I have DC Movie News. I'm a big fan of the show DC Movie News on Popcorn Talk, which is why when they were announced they were going to be a team, I was really excited. Also, big Mike Kalinowski fan, so more we get to see of him, and the better. And they're a great team. They have a lot of great knowledge. They hit a few snags recently, but I feel like next season come back. And at number 2, a team that I'm sure a lot of people were thinking going to be my number 1. They're not. It's Wolves of Steel. The reason why they're not my number 2 is sadly because of that BS after the Above the Line match. Mark Riley and Clark Wolf decided to take a break on being Wolves of Steel. That's what sort of pushed them down to the number 2 spot. Again, if you guys saw my top 10 favorite singles competitors, Clark Wolf and Mark Riley, well, of course Mark Riley, in their eyes when I say that, are 2 of my favorites. So seeing them on a team, and also, yeah, they had a rocky start, but you know what teams don't? You know, and this season they bulldozed through the competition. They just sort of, they hit a wall, and it sucks, but they're going to be back sooner rather than.
My number 4 is the same as Matthew Kearns'. That is Team Trek. Again, they are one of the best face teams that knows how to give it back to you a little bit if you mouth off, and not just with a good quip or a good one-liner, but with a good amount of knowledge. I mean, in theory, you'd think that a team with Scott Mance on it, with all due respect to him, wouldn't necessarily work because the dude's a bit of a wild child. He kind of plays by his own rules, and he doesn't give a shit. Which, you know what? Hey, awesome. Good for you, Mance. But luck would have it, they found someone to rein him in. And Jason Inman could not be the better compadre for Mr. Mance, because what Inman doesn't really know, Mance probably knows. What Mance doesn't know, Inman probably knows. Their chemistry is off the charts, and as a longtime Trek fan, God, it's good to see Star Trek get some love in the Schmoedown, because there's just not enough questions being asked about Star Trek. Come on, Skaliski, please. I will
Make it so.
I will give you every single copy of them on Blu-ray, just so we can get some more questions, please. Thank you. Number 3. Okay. This team literally just started from the tournament. And it's not so much of a like, oh my god, I'm so in love with them, they're so amazing, above the line. It's more just that you got Sam Levine and Drew McWeeny. A match made in heaven. chemistry off the charts. Both of them, extremely nice gentlemen. Obviously, great guys to have a conversation with. And they know their shit. They know an insane amount of shit. It's like, honestly, if they fought either my number 2 or 1, I'm scared. I actually might have to wind up going for above the line over my number 2 and 1. Just because I think they're that good. The thing is, they're the newest of my top 3, ergo why they're my number 3. Now my number 2. The champ is here! The champ is here! Come on. I listen to their podcast every single week. I'm a huge fan of them. I listen to Outlaw Nation every single week. I'm a huge fan of the Outlaw. No shit, Sherlock. Top 10. And yeah, did they have a rough year this year? Of course they did. But they've actually had a year this year in comparison to who my number 1 is, and that's obvious, but well, again, we'll get to that when we get there. But they're 2 of the best. They have some of the best chemistry, and they also, kind of were the original team to really just bring it. The top 10 to me set the bar of champions, what to expect in a title match. They also set the bar of what a team match is supposed to consist of. This was a team that, for a whole week set the team record before Above the Line blew that record out of the water. So, Roka, Nost, don't let me down. Spectacular.
For my number 4 team, the only thing I want to ask is, where are the belts? That's team action. Because they've, in every match, they've always consistently been up there. Like, they've had some great matches, especially against Late to the Party. And my number 3 is Team Trek, because they've always brought it. They've always been entertaining, and they do know their stuff. And like everyone else said, they should be champions, but Buzzergate happened, Eva happened. I mean, there's not really much more I can add to why I really enjoyed Team Trek. My number 2 is Above the Line. They got one of the highest points scored in a team match ever. They won. They're going for the titles at Spectacular. Whether or not that they won it, we don't know. But Drew McGreeny and Sam Lavaney in a team together, it was perfect chemistry. I mean, I don't think they've missed a lot of questions since they've teamed up. They definitely balanced each other out.
It's interesting you say that, Malcolm, because your number 2 is actually my number 4. It's actually Above the Line. Above the Line has been solid this entire tournament, as everybody have said. They've been steamrolling all the competition. And who knows if they steamrolled Patriots, as everybody said, we are ignorant to the Spectacular. So I can only hope that maybe they did, maybe they didn't beat who is actually my number 3. The Patriots. The Patriots, the Patriots, the Patriots. The Lions Den. They are undefeated for a reason. They are champions for a reason. They have defended the belts consistently. Over and over and over again. You cannot take that away from them. They are 150% undefeated. And yes, there's a lot of hatred behind them, but who doesn't like good villains? The Patriots are who they are, and the league wouldn't be the same without them. Speaking of people who have defended their belts, this team includes somebody who sadly didn't. As my number 2, this comes as no surprise to anybody. The best heel team in the league is, without a doubt, Blofeld Cat. Mark Andreyko and Robert Meyer Burnett kill each and every match that they are in, and when they lose at a very small margin, and get so many great points. Blofeld's Cat are what I consider to be the pinnacle of the Lion's Den. They just need more shots at the belt. And this brings us to our runners-up. Our 2 runners-up, you guys know the drill. We're going to list our 2 runners-up who sadly didn't make the cut for our lists. Alright, Chris Doman, I'm going to start with you with the runners-up. Who are your 2 runners-up?
My first runner-up is DC Movie News. They're just a little too new for to really get on that list, and as far as where they are with the standings, and also sadly the fact that both times they lost, it was a TKO. It just, and granted, I'm looking from a stats perspective as well as a fan perspective. Also, I just am not familiar with their work outside of the Schmoedown as much. Am I saying that they're bad? No. Good God, no. Kalinowski is quite possibly one of the best competitors in the Schmoedown altogether. Gertler, we just need to see more of him, and then I'll, get a little more on the hype train. And they also need to get a couple more wins, I'd say, before I'm really on the, oh my God, this is the next IT team. My other runner-up is Forest Bros. It's just because they were a one-time team, though.
Yeah.
And you have my 2 favorite characters from one of, from a show that I absolutely love, which is Star Wars Rebels. You have Maul and Kanan on a team together, coming together on the light side and the dark, kind of like a recent Star Wars movie. It's amazing. But we've only gotten it once. Oh well.
My first runner-up is Blofeld's Cat. No, Blofeld's Cat. Simply because, I mean, they're great, but they just haven't really done a lot this year for me to put them higher. I mean, it leads me into my other runners-up, which is critically acclaimed.
Are you kidding me?
Ouch.
Of any team, Malcolm, those are the 2 teams you choose as your 2 runners-up.
Just to spite you, Clark.
Nothing. It's nothing against them. I think they're great. It's just since leaving the 4 Horsemen, they've kind of. Yeah, I mean, maybe if they get a few wins and a few more matches to truly appreciate them, they might make it on next year. So.
My 2 runners-up are first, Late to the Party. Buddies of ours, they've been on some Take 3 stuff. I mean, it's just I think that there are fans in the Schmoedown really representing us. Not only that they did pretty well this season, given the team they went up against, and I can't wait to see them appear more next season. And then my other runner-up just barely made it into my top 10, but they didn't quite crack it. 6 Degrees, Rain Chandler, Stacey Howard. I love these 2. I mean, their entrances are fantastic. They're always a lot of fun. And they sort of live and breathe what I love about the Schmoedown, which is they get really into every aspect, and they're also really good at the game.
Indeed, and my 2 runners-up are, since they haven't really had much of a presence this season, they've had a huge presence behind the desk, but not in front of the desk, which is Team Schmoes. Of course, you can't really say none of this would be here without Christian, and that team itself is a team to be reckoned with. And I really, really hope next season we might see them again. We might not. We don't know. It would be great. It would be a great homecoming to have them back again. And then my other runner-up is actually Team Action. Action. Their entrances, their charisma, their energy in the game is always welcome, and they're hilarious. Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman are great guys. Even if I like to give them shit, they like to throw it right back at me, and it all smells great. So, Team Action all the way, and I know that we're going to see a lot more of them in the future, and they are a force to be reckoned with. I say that a lot, but it's true in that instance. Anyway, guys, here is the penultimate part of the show. There we go. I used the right term in the right circumstance with the right hands. We are going to be going through our number one picks for our number one pick for our top Schmoedown team of all time, starting with you, Malcolm. Who was your number one?
Well, I mean, my number one, there's only one team which can be number one, and that's the Patriots. I mean, they've been undefeated since Spectacular last year. I mean, they've always brought it. I mean, and they've just been so incredible, and like they're part of a faction which is running rampant at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see where everything goes after this.
Matthew Kearns, what is your number one? I think we all know.
Well, you're asking me that question, but I have a question for you.
Oh, what?
Where's the freaking belt? I mean, come on. Yeah, talk, chat, but at least they're not retired like Chris's number one team. I mean, come on. You got your future freaking champs right here. Okay, yeah, have they lost some matches? Who hasn't lost matches except for the Patriots? But you know what? One day they're going to lose to probably Team Action, okay? These guys, everyone likes to say, oh, all they know is action. Action. They've gotten more categories than just action. Ben Bateman, Andrew Guy, pretty freaking cool. You gotta give it up to two guys who are just full on heels, and they stick with it no matter what. I mean, come on, Team Action. Where's the freaking belt?
They are the shade in our sunshine. Team Action, Team Action, Team Action, all the way. Matt, I can understand your pick. Chris, who's that number one of yours? What team gets that honor?
Okay. This is pure bias because it should be top 10, and it should be. As far as active, still truly going competitors. But, come on. You're really gonna throw Schmoes under the bus that quickly? They were the former champs for a reason. And sadly, they lost the belts when they lost the belts, that was their worst match.
Yeah, it was.
Every other match that they've had has been fantastic. And sure, Schmo's top 10 too broke my heart. Because I knew that that's when they were done for a while. But give me a reason why they wouldn't come back. You can see it in Christian's eyes. You can see it in Alice's face. They're like, hey, buddy, we should probably get back in there. Well, we can tell all these fans to suck a fuck fart. We'll step back into the ring where they belong. Because those belts belong back at home. And I'm not saying that they have to, just, be the champions just because they're the commissioners. No. Because they can earn it. They did it before. They can do it one more time. Shit, I wrote a song about this, for God's sake. They can do it. And it's also because, yes, without them, we don't have this amazing game. We don't have all these other amazing teams that everybody else presented. Without Schmoes, you don't have Team Action. You don't have Critically Acclaimed or Blofeld's Cat. You don't have all this great stuff. I mean, the thing about Schmoes is that they're so perfect in how complementary they are. But they also do share the same weaknesses, sadly. If they got classics on that wheel, they're fucked. As we've learned, if they get movie release dates, they're fucked. But I just want to see my guys step back in the ring one last time. Please.
And I think the odds are in their favor. They are going to be coming back. It's not a matter of if. It's really just a matter of when. Yeah. It really is. And my number one shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. After Bibbs made his debut, I've always wanted him to be teamed with, when I was introduced to Cancel Too Soon and the B-Movies podcast at the time, again, may it rest in peace, Whitney Seibold. Now, as Chris alluded to, and as Matt even alluded to on one of their reactions, Matt didn't know who Whitney Seibold was. Chris didn't know who Whitney Seibold was. Malcolm, did you know who Whitney Seibold was before the critically acclaimed reveal?
He still doesn't know who he is.
I didn't know who he was before then.
Yeah. So my number one is obviously critically acclaimed. Now, yes, they've only had 2 matches, right? They've only had 2 matches and they lost 1.
Yep.
But 50% is better than 0%, a goose egg. And look, they lost to Robert and Vanessa, which is utter bullshit. Utter bullshit.
Oh my god! I thought he was gonna be like, and they lost Robert and Vanessa, you know, who are a great team. Now he's just like, fuck that shit.
No. It's utter bullshit that they lost because look, this team is above the line times 576. Now, you don't know what 576 means? I don't, because those numbers mean nothing. Look. Critically acclaimed is the greatest team of all time, and I will prove it to you by next year. They are going to be at the top. They aren't going to be at the bottom. All the haters, everybody says, oh no, they didn't have they had their time of fame and now they suck. They don't suck anymore. Once you see how good this team is and their potential, Whitney knows his shit, Bibbs knows his shit. We're going to have the first time that 2 members of a team have 2 perfect first rounds with the bonus point. I guarantee it. Men's Warehouse, eat that. Creating an average top 10 list from us 4 was very, very tricky and weird, because going by where the number 1 spot gets 10 points and the number 10 spot gets 1 point, there were a lot of ties. And it's really a top 7. But since there are a bunch of ties, it is a top 10 average list. So at number 7 is DC Movie News with 10 points out of us 4. Schmoes and Modoc tied at number 6 with 13 points between the 4 of us. Critically Acclaimed came at number 5 with 15. Action came at number 4 with 17. Wolves of Steel came at number 3 with 18. Trek came in at number 2 with 22. And there was a 3-way tie for number 1 between Top 10, Above the Line, and Patriots, with a total of 24 points. This was crazy, y'all. Anyway, guys, that concludes our top 10 list for the top 10 Schmoedown teams of all time. What a way to end it. That was fantastic. I'm going to go around the board and just let's get some plugs in before we have to turn out the lights. Malcolm Malay, where can the good people find you online?
You can find me on various Take 3 videos, doing a whole bunch of things. You can find me all around the Worldwide Movie Games Network, doing trivia matches or debating matches, and you can find me on Facebook at Malcolm Goldie Lay, and I'm on Twitter at Melkor.
Indeed. Matthew Kearns with those shades on high. Where can the good people find you online?
You guys can find me asking, where's the belt? Anytime Team Action is playing, I'm usually wearing it. Didn't want to put it on just because I really need to. But you guys, besides that, you can find me at Matthew on Twitter, MattMovie611 on YouTube. You can also find me hosting 2 Take 3 shows. I host the Fandom Show as well as Wrestling on Russell Fan Podcast.
Beautiful. Chris Dillman, where can the good people find you online, good sir?
You guys can find me online on my Twitter. Wow! For once, I fucked that up.
Chris, sorry, I'm gonna transition into you. Yeah, Chris, where can the good people find you online?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at my band Last Shot at Redemption at LSARBandMN. You guys can follow Take 3 Productions on Twitter and Instagram at Take 3 Trivia. You guys can follow our sister channel, the Worldwide Movie Games Network, on YouTube and on Twitter at WWMGN Take 3. And of course, you can find me on Letterboxd, Stardust at Chris Take 3, and you can also find me right here hosting Nights of the Podcast.
But anyway, guys, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ChrisCluck8788. Those numbers mean nothing. You can also find me here on Take 3 hosting Suddenly Soundtracks, a show where we go through a movie musical song by song and dissect a movie soundtrack and judge it based on the soundtrack that it provides. Or you can find me on family game night every Friday or Saturday night, whatever we decide. It's a huge disaster. You can also find me on YouTube at No Man's Land Entertainment. All of that was a bigger mouthful than Thanksgiving on a Wednesday night. But anyway, guys, thank you, take care, and keep rocking.